300 Blackout, 5.56. Two wildly different rounds firing out of the same frame. In fact, 300 Blackout is simply a necked up 5.56 to 30 cal. 300 Blackout has been around for a little while at this point, isn't that right, Micah?
Yeah, it just exists.
It exists. You know, ever since the Honey Badger came out, was in Call of Duty, I have loved 300 Blackout, but it really hasn't been widely adopted. It has been used. The question that we have is, how effective is 300 Blackout ballistically? How good does it do in a human body? Is it worth your hard-earned V-Bucks? Today on Grant, we'll be answering these questions and many more. Isn't that right, Micah? Like, what else are we answering?
Should it even exist?
It already does.
You didn't think you were going to hit it.
I knew I was going to hit it. Before we get into everything, we of course have to thank the biggest sponsor of the channel. The biggest sponsor of the channel is the Sonoran Desert Institute. If you're looking to get your start in gunsmithing, we love them. They sponsor the channel. They sponsor our crazy science, such as today. Go check them out if you want to get that start. And of course, who can we not forget? Micah!
Primary Arms,
Yep.
proudly providing any optics you need for your 300 Blackout.
There you have it. Anything you could possibly want to your heart's desire. Go check out Primary Arms. And if you're looking to become a better shooter, we recommend dry fire. There is nothing better than Mantis. We love Mantis because it turns your weapon into a dry fire machine. Get better, get that reset on that trigger. We absolutely advocate for using Mantis as well as normal dry fire. So get in there. And all ammunition is sponsored for by AAC. Big thank you to them. We're using a lot of their SMK 220 grainers, and those perform well. We think they perform well.
We're about to find out.
We're about to find out. Today, we're going to be doing a full-fledged test on 300 Blackout. We're going to be doing terminal ballistics. We're going to test ballistics. We're going to test shootability. And finally, we're going to sum it all up and see, is 300 Blackout worth it? But let's talk for just a moment about 300 Blackout. If you know Kevin Brittingham from Q, if you know of AAC, you know where 300 Blackout came from. We're not going to get into any of the arguments about it. So what we're doing is we're taking a 5.56 and we're simply necking it up to 30 cal. Here's what's really interesting about doing that is with the 300 Blackout, you can actually reliably cycle subsonics. That means that a 300 Blackout is ridiculously quiet, but you can't break the sound barrier when you use the subs. That means that there's only so much damage they can do. A lot of people choose to use the 300 Black for the fact that it can cycle those subs and it is so quiet. But how good do these actually perform? And especially, how does it compare to the ubiquitous jack of all trades, the 5.56? So we're gonna be trying a lot of different 300 Blackout ammunition, and we're gonna be comparing it directly to 5.56. Now we're gonna be starting with Black Hills ammunition, supersonic, 125 grain OTM. Black Hills known for killing people. Next up, we'll be trying a 220 grain Sierra Mash King, which is a subsonic round. And then finally, we'll be finishing with the very nasty discrete ballistics round. Now, we'll be directly comparing a lot of these rounds with their counterparts in 5.56. Obviously, they're not directly comparable, but we have, of course, a Black Hills Mark 262 round. We have a 77 grain OTM, which is a Sierra Match King, and we'll be seeing the differences in performance. Obviously, 5.56 being supersonic. I'm going to be honest, Mike, I think 5.56 is just going to be significantly more violent. All right, we're going to be firing into ballistics gel right here. We're going to be starting the test with 300 Black. We have 125 grain Black Hills ammunition, firing from a Elva, which is a 6.75 inch barrel with a Liberty precision can. Did you see that, dude?
Yeah, it went over and hit the truck, didn't it?
Yeah. Black Hills performed extremely violently. The 125 grain round is supersonic, and as you can see, we had excellent tumbling and expansion in the gel. This is wonderful performance out of that round. Black Hills just getting it done. For direct comparison, we have a Mark 18 10.3 barrel with a Surefire suppressor, and it's going to be firing Black Hills Mark 262, an extremely violent 5.56 round that is roughly equivalent to the 125 grain 300 Black we just fired. 5.56 never ceases to amaze. thing that continues to impress me is how violent 5.56 is. It's just a teeny little, very fast round. Even out of a Mark 18, it's not cooking too hard. It still has enough energy for that insane amount of expansion that you saw. And as well, the entire round is breaking up within the body and shredding out. You have the compression as the round comes in, you get that nice little explosion. That is violent. 5.56 goated.
Yeah.
5.56 goated.
All right. End the video?
Okay, thanks for watching Grand Thumb. Back to 300 Blackout, but more importantly, firing subsonic. I just don't think it's gonna do that good.
Well, here's the part that bums me out. The super didn't even do as good as the super in 5.56, and now we're doing what it was actually intended for, which is being quiet.
I'm so worried.
All right, let's see if it's...
I keep this exact gun at my bedside. Okay, 220 grain Sierra Match King. What do we say about Sierras? They're responsible for a lot of deaths, but they always kind of, they don't like it when we say that to them. Let me know when. Dude, subs make the weirdest noises.
I was gonna say, at least it wins for wettest flat.
Okay, so a lot of people have said that the, 300 Blackout firing sub is basically just like a 45. No, the round is shaped better than a 45, but it is roughly the same grainage and speed. But this did, it did better.
I think in internet terms we would say mid.
Mid. This is mid. It did better than I thought it would do as a subsonic. But as you can see, clearly less energetic than what you'd want out of a round. Like if I shoot somebody, I really want it to be. Okay, let's test it against 77 grain Sierra Match King, dude. We are back to 5.56 firing Sierra Match King. This is 77 grain compared to the 220 grain. It is obviously going to be supersonic, but that's just how 5.56 is. So we'll see how the two Sierras compare against one another. Let me know when. Every time, dude. Jeez. .556 is just massively outperforming 300 Blackout. This is like a short barrel 5.56 as well. Like the Mark 18 is widely considered like the.
Is this a shock? I don't think this is a shock though.
I didn't think it was gonna be this big of like a gap between them. I kind of bought into 300 Blackout a little bit, and like I'm vulnerable right now.
But we have to talk about its strengths. I guess. Well, its strength.
Its strength. Well, let's talk about the strength.
Do we test the weakest range ammo there is in comparison?
55 grain?
Yeah.
Right here we have the most inexpensive, cheapest range ammo we can find. 55 grain FMJ. Will it perform better than 300 Blackout? Probably. Okay, it's kind of closer. So the best 300 black ammo is performing about the level of 55 grain firing out of a 10-3 Mark 18. You know what? But it's quiet. We're going to be potentially using the most deadly round from 300 Blackout, and that is the discrete ballistics.
Oh, ooh. That did sound the most promising.
That did sound the most promising. So we're talking about ballistics. There are some things that are up in the air. And one thing that I want to talk about is that discrete ballistics rounds typically do really good in meat, like really good with fluid. Not as well in gel. Now that being said, I would say this was the best performing subsonic round that we shot today. So that is very good to see. But that being said, it's still it's a very expensive round. It is very expensive.
How much is that per bullet?
more than we can afford. This does have pedals coming off. It has a great twist. We saw a great expansion. It's just still, what's that meme from Invincible? It's like, look what they need to mimic a fraction of our power. You know what I hate more than anything? Terrible Chinese products. You know what I hate more than terrible Chinese products? I hate when people are paid to give good reviews on Amazon. How many gun safes, little boxes that you can put on the safe to keep your firearms out of your children's hands have you seen where they have 20,000 great reviews? Well, did you know that those little things will shatter if you drop them from shoulder height? And I'm not even talking like Micah shoulder height. I'm talking like Asian Phil shoulder height, if you know what I mean. This video is sponsored by not a shitty Chinese company, but an American company founded by red-blooded Americans. This is Stopbox, and the best part about it, it's all mechanical. There are no electronic failure points for when that mythical EMP goes off. You're always gonna be able to access your gun. There is nobody better to talk about the Stopbox than the founders themselves.
So now that you have had a chance to play with my box, do you like my box? So I came up with the Stopbox because we needed a bedside pistol safe for our gun that our kids couldn't access our firearm, and on the market everything out there is battery powered or just honestly garbage. If you needed to get into your gun, you probably would not be able to if somebody just kicked in your bedroom door in the middle of the night. It's just not going to happen. So we wanted a quick, reliable way to get into your firearm that did not use batteries or electronics. So unlike our competitors, the Stopbox is not made out of a metal. It's strategically made out of a very high-grade glass reinforced polycarbonate ABS to be highly impact resistant. So basically what that means is if you drop it on the ground or somebody's throwing it on the ground, all that energy is not going to be distributed just to the weakest point. Like if it was out of metal, it's going to be rigid and send that to whatever the weakest link is, and most likely going to shatter it. Our product is made out of an impact resistant material, so that way the energy is dispersed and strategically designed to disperse that energy in a way to where it's not going to break the box open. That's why we're able to have such a secure, lightweight and portable place for your handgun.
Man, it looks like a donut operator could have really used one of these to make sure that his Glock didn't get stolen. that was mean. I'm sorry. We love you, Donut. You know, it might seem like we just hate 300 Black and that it's not good at anything, but it has uses. It definitely has uses. And one thing that you can say about 300 compared to 5.56 is how quiet it can be. Like that is, you can hear the impacts on dirt.
It is hearing safe for sure.
That is very much so hearing safe. 5.56 out of a 10.3, not so much. A little bit of hearing damage, that's life. But certainly, if you need to be super duper ultra quiet, 300 Black is your round. But what we're gonna show you right here is the time to impact. So if your target is moving, if they're running, if you're trying to hit somebody at distance, it's going to be important to have velocity to be able to impact your target quickly, because you don't have to lead them as much. It makes things way more complex. So we're
who knows that all too well? Airsofters. All you have to do is outrun the BB.
All you have to do is outrun the BB. So we'll be taking shots at 300, then at 400. First with the Mark 18 5.56. Okay, I'll go up to 400 now. That's embarrassing. All right, so as you can see, not too much of a sound delay. Even out of the 10.3, you're going slower, but you're still making your impact quite quickly. Let's see what it's like with 300.
Let's see if you make an impact.
Oh, okay, I am using a magnified optic here, so that's not quite fair to the 300. Just some dirt.
Right, new mag.
Dude, I'm going off the reticle in here, which is like a donut of death. So right now I'm about 2.5 targets over, and I'm still impacting a little bit low or a little bit right.
What was your hold on the 5.56?
Oh, 300. It's an Elcan, so it was just dead on.
Oh, finally.
Do I need to shoot to 400?
I don't think you're gonna hit 400, but let's finish the mag.
Okay. That is fucking tough. Dude.
So he could not make a 400-yard impact.
That's probably on me. I bet if I had like magnified optic, had some better dope and BDC on this, it'd be easier. But no matter what, dude, there's a lot of time in flight. That's a lot of time for wind to affect it. This is a short range round, 100%. But let's go ahead and let's test the shootability. Let's see how it is at speed. You ready, Micah?
Yep.
Okay, what did you just say?
I just, like a really quick Google search, the first thing that came up, according to the U.S. Armed Forces, the maximum effective range of the 300 Blackout when fired through a 16-inch barrel, not a 6-inch barrel, is 460 meters. That is the furthest that you can expect to reasonably hit your target with the cartridge.
Listen, the 300 can fire further than like 225 yards, but it really has a lot of trouble doing it. That is not the intended use case scenario. 220 and under, much better. And as you can see, we did get an impact at 300, but that was tough. Okay, next up, we're gonna be doing a shootability test. We are doing a bill drill, 6 rounds at 7 yards, as quick as possible. Let's see how controllable these rifles are. Micah, go ahead and hit me with a nice little beep.
Stand by.
Yeah. Beep. Sorry, that was 7, but
I'll stop it on 6. I'll stop the timer on 6.
Okay, let's try it with 300 black. And then you're up, Micah. Beep. I held up on the trigger a little bit. Let's have you do it and then give me your thoughts, Micah.
All right.
Micah, shooter, are you ready?
I am.
Stand by. Up.
Well, I did one less because you.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
You did one
that was
more.
Fast. Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, 300 blackout. Shooter, are you ready?
Yep.
Stand by. Up. Okay. I want to know your thoughts. Recoil difference between the two.
I don't know if you noticed, but I really was a lot slower on this.
Yeah.
The sound almost plays tricks on you to make you think this is more controllable, but
Yeah.
it for sure has more push in your shoulder, more muzzle climb, and then back onto the thing, and a lot slower of an impulse as well.
It's
not as snappy.
It's not, and you kind of come down to target a little bit slower. The 220 grain, 100%, man, that delivers more recoil.
Yeah.
So we have better ballistics with 5.56. We have better terminal effects with 5.56. We have a lighter recoil and weapon with 5.56. We have lighter ammunition with 5.56. We have better velocities with 5.56. And with 300 blackout, we have what, Micah? Sound.
Better sound.
Better sound. Not to mention also the ammunition for 5.56 is cheaper. Listen, we're not trying to say that 300 black is bad. 300 black does have an application. I would say that application is if you're a NATO death squad and you need to be super duper quiet, hey, there's nothing better than 300 blackout. If you're inside your house and you need to be super duper quiet, you want to wake up anybody for some reason and you want very little flash, 300 blackout's around. Another thing that we haven't really talked about is flash signature. Flash signature with subsonic 300 blackout is very minimal, so it definitely fits the bill there.
And I'll just say this.
Yeah.
I keep a 300 blackout in my truck because I don't always keep ear pro with me, and sometimes it's nice to hop out, shoot with the boys,
and be able to, not worry about that ear pro. But if we're talking like 10 out of 10 times when I'm going to choose for everything, it's going to be 5.56 every time. 5.56 is a jack of all trades. It can do a lot. 5.56 is good from anywhere from 0 all the way out to, even on this Mark 18, out to 400, 500. No problem. You do not have that versatility. So we have a very specialized round with 300 blackout. A lot of people have talked about how incredible the ballistics are or how just phenomenal of a round it is, but I think we've shown that cheaper and more readily available 5.56 rounds outperform, in most cases, 300 black. So here's gonna be the thing. If you're using a 300 black, just make sure that it's fitting your use case. There are many. I'll be honest, right? Like we talked about earlier, I do keep one at my bedside because I don't always have ear pro on. I want to make sure the family can continue to sleep while I remove any Russian or whatever threats that have entered the house. But if you're looking for performance, I think that there's little doubt that 5.56 once again has proven itself to be a very effective, very deadly, and very capable round. Guys, it doesn't really matter that much to me what you're using. What matters to me is that you're actually training with it. Because if you don't train with these, you're going to suck with them, no matter what. Doesn't matter how good the round is. If you don't shoot, you suck. Who cares? You're not even going to hit the target. So train with whatever you have. Select what is best for your particular mission parameters, whether that be LARPing in your basement, whether that be free in a country. I don't know what you guys are up to. And before I go, a little bit of dad advice for you guys. Everybody who has ever lived will die or is dead. Everything that you acquired in life will be owned by somebody else or will be thrown in the trash. The only thing that you can take with you are the loving relationships that you have with your family. So maybe don't worry so much about that car. Maybe don't worry so much about that nice watch. Spend more time with your family, because that is something that you can take after this mortal life ends.